This is from Black Dawah Network. Correcting Chancellor Williams, the destruction of Black civilizations on Islam. What if Chancellor Williams' book, Destruction of Black Civilization, was updated in 2019? What if the book was updated based on current research about the rise and fall of several African civilizations? The updated version would tackle several conflicting statements regarding the legacy of Islam in West Africa. Chancellor Williams speaks laudatory about Islam, stating that the Renaissance in Africa occurred at the same time it developed in Europe between the 15th and 16th century, and that both in Europe and Africa, Islamic sources were the catalyst. So this is actually in his book. Chancellor Williams admitted that there was a Renaissance that took place in Africa and in Europe, and the catalyst for both Renaissances in the 15th and 16th century was Islamic. Right? So continuing to read. Here, Williams credits Islam for bringing about a revival of civilizations and culture throughout West Africa. Yet, in another portion of the book, Williams chronicles the downfall of the Ghanaian civilization of West Africa, stating that the destruction of the capital of Ghana by Muslims in 1076. Stop. Ghana was a Muslim empire. Ghana was a Muslim empire. It was ruled by Muslims. So I find it odd, his wording, that he says the destruction of the capital of Ghana by Muslims. Well, they were Muslims. So he's contrasting Ghana as being an African kingdom empire without telling the reader that it's an Islamic African empire. And that the Muslims came in 1076 and destroyed it. Continue to read. With the Islamic invasion of Ghana, Chancellor Williams writes that the African masses, so he doesn't refer to them as Muslims or African Muslims. They're just simply African. African masses of the chorus were regarded as infidels, upon whom Muslims should sought out to carry out forced conversions to Islam. Chancellor Williams' account of the fall of Ghana by Islamic invaders has created much animus towards Islam within the Black consciousness community, and has solidified their belief of Islam being a tool of subjugation over Black people. Moreover, it is hard to reconcile Williams' claim that Islam brought about an intellectual renaissance in West Africa, whilst simultaneously contributing to the destruction of an important civilization in West Africa. Yes, that's a contradiction. Let's be critical. You give credit that Islam is the catalyst that brought about the Renaissance in both Europe and Africa. So Africa is encountering a Renaissance because of Islam. But yet at the same time, in the same exact book, you're claiming that Islam destroyed Ghana. Well, which one is it? Because two opposites can't be true at the same time. That doesn't make sense. Williams wrote his book in 1973, and at that time, the account of the collapse of the Ghana civilization by Muslim invaders was widely accepted theory in academia. Let's zoom in a little bit more. I want you to read that for yourself. Williams wrote this book in 1973, and in that time, the account of the collapse of Ghanaian civilization by Muslim invaders was widely accepted theory in academia. But it wasn't accurate. It's what academia believed at that time in 73. Where would Chancellor Williams have learned that? Where would Chancellor Williams have learned what Eurocentric academia believed about the fall of Ghana, the Empire of Ghana, being invaded by hordes of, wild-eyed Arab Muslims who destroyed the empire? Where did he learn that from? One of the key points concerning the history of Islam in his book, he gotten that position from his white professors at the University of Oxford in London. So when Afrocentrists and Black consciousness community people in Hoteps repeat this idea from his book, and they cite the Empire of Ghana being invaded by Muslims, and destroyed because Chancellor Williams said it. Chancellor Williams did not independently come up with that concept. He learned that concept in his history courses in training from the time of Howard University up to the time in the 50s. He studied at Oxford in London. Williams wrote this book in 1973, and at that time, the account of the collapse of Ghana civilization by Muslim invaders was widely accepted theory in academia. The updated version of his book would include the current research which started in 1982, discredits such theories as European colonial propaganda. His updated version of this book would include the current research, which starting in 1982 discredits such theory as European colonial propaganda. In the article, The Conquest That Never Was, Ghana and Al-Borab, 1076, historian David C. Conrad and Humphrey J. Fisher determined local oral tradition posited that drought was the major contributor to the collapse of Ghana. Through their analysis of oral and archaeological and written records, to find no evidence at all that Muslim invaders destroyed Ghana. You can look this up on the internet. Probably won't be able to get it for free. You might have to pay for it, but it's on the internet. In fact, let's Google it. This is Google. Ghana and Almoravids, 1076. The local oral sources. This is an academic website that hosts academic articles. The Conquest That Never Was. Ghana and the Almoravids, 1076. The external Arabic sources.